Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Happy Kartik, everyone. So today in class we have here in person, we have Malini Prabhu and Narayan Prabhu, Bhaktin Brielle and Bhakta Eze and Ramachandra Prabhu. And online we have Daru and Dear Govinda Prabhu and Damayanti, Anasuya, Bhaktin Sarah. We have Ashwani, and we have Bhakta George and Bhaktin Danielle and Bhaktin Saraswati, and Gajendra and Laura, Parampara, Ananta Shakti, Lakshmi Priya, Kim, and Rukmini. Just perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Hare Krishna. So today we're going to be reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 4 to 5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Buddhirginam asomoha sama satyam dhamma sama sukham dukkam bhavo bhavo.
I don't know which one.
Text, I'm sorry, chapter 10, verse 4 to 5. Buddhirginam asomaha sama satyam dhamma sama sukham dukkam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam bhavam cha bhayam eva cha.
Buddhirginam asamoha sama satyam dhamma sama sukham dukkam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Ahimsa sat sammata tustis tapodanam yaso yasa bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pratagvida.
Ahimsa sammata tustis tapodanam yaso yasa bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pratagvida.
Buddhirgyanam asamoha sama satyam dhamma sama sukham dukkam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Buddhirgyanam asamoha sama satyam dhamma sama sukham dukkam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Ahimsa sammata tustis tapodanam yaso yasa, avanti bhava bhutanam, matta eva pratagvida.
Ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam yasho yasaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pritagvidaha.
Would anyone like to?
Buddhirgyanama somoha shama satyam dhamasama Sukam dukam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Buddhirgyanam shamoha, shama satyam dhamma shamaha, sukam dukam bhavo bhavo, bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Ahimsa samata tushtis tapodanam yasho yasaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pritagvidaha.
Ahimsa samata tustis, tapodanam yasho yashaha, bhavanti bhava bhutanam, mata eva pritagvidaha.
Buddhirgyanam asamoham, Kshama satyam dhamma samaha, Sukam dukam bhavo bhavo, Bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Buddhirgyanam asomoha shama satyam dhamasama sukam dukam bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha.
Ahimsa samata tustis, tapodanam yasho yashaha, bhavanti bhava bhutanam, mata eva pritagvidaha.
Ahimsa samata tustis,
tapodanam yasho yasaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mata eva pritagvidaha.
Anyone online?
Buddhirgyanam asamoha Shama satyam tamasama
Sama satyam tamasama,
Sukam dukam bhavo bhavo
sukam dukam bhavo bhavo,
Bhayam cha bhayam eva cha
Bhayam cha.
Ahimsa samata tushtis
Ahimsa samata tushtis
Tapodanam yasho yasha
Yaso yasa,
Bhavanti bhava bhutanam
Bhavanti bhava bhutanam,
Mata eva pritagvita
Mata eva pritagvidaha. Buddhi,
Buddhi,
intelligence.
intelligence,
Jnanam,
Jnanam,
knowledge.
knowledge,
Asamoha,
asamoha,
freedom from doubt.
freedom from doubt,
Sama,
shama,
forgiveness.
forgiveness,
Satyam,
satyam,
truthfulness.
truthfulness,
Dhamma,
dhamma,
control of the senses.
control of the senses,
Sama,
shama,
control of the mind.
control of the mind,
Sukham,
sukham,
happiness.
happiness,
Dukam,
dukam,
distress.
distress,
Bhava,
bhava,
birth.
birth,
Abhava,
abhava,
death.
death,
Bhayam,
bhayam,
fear.
fear,
Cha,
cha,
also.
also,
Abhayam,
abhayam,
without fear.
without fear,
Eva,
eva,
also.
also,
Cha,
cha,
and.
and
Ahimsa,
ahimsa,
non-violence.
non-violence,
Samatha,
samatha,
equilibrium.
equilibrium,
Tusti,
tushti,
satisfaction.
satisfaction,
Tapa,
tapa,
penance.
penance,
Dhanam,
Dhanam,
charity.
Charity.
Yasa,
Yasha,
Yasha, fame.
fame,
Ayasha,
Ayasha.
infamy.
infamy,
Bhavanti,
Bhavanti.
become.
become,
Bhavaha,
bhava,
bhava. Natures.
nature,
Bhutanam,
bhutanam,
of living entities.
of
Living entities.
Mata,
mata,
Mata.
from
From.
me. From me. Eva,
Eva.
certainly.
Certainly.
Pritak,
Pritak,
Pritak.
vida.
Vida.
Pritak vida,
Pritak vida.
Vida.
Differently arranged.
Differently arranged.
Translation. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, self-control and calmness, pleasure and pain, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, nonviolence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy are created by me alone. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The different qualities of living entities, be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna, and they are described here. Intelligence refers to the power of analyzing things in proper perspective, and knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. Ordinary knowledge obtained by a university education pertains only to matter, and it is not accepted here as knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the distinction between spirit and matter. In modern education, there is no knowledge about the spirit. They are simply taking care of the material elements and bodily needs. Therefore, academic knowledge is not complete. Asamoha, freedom from doubt and delusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely, he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Sama, forgiveness, should be practiced, and one should excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means that facts should be represented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to social conventions, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others, but that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straight and forward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and people are warned that he is a thief, that is truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for the benefit of others. That is the definition of truth. Self-control means that the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, the mind should not indulge in unnecessary thoughts. That is called sama, or calmness. Nor should one spend one's time pondering over earning money. That is a misuse of the thinking power. I lost my place. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of thought should be developed in association with persons who are authorities in the scriptures, saintly persons and spiritual masters, and those whose thinking is highly developed. Sukham, pleasure or happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of the spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorable should be rejected. Bhava, birth, should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because by his activities, he is sure to go back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds, so they are therefore in constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, we will be free from all fear. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are spiritual parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and are therefore engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Godhead, have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This fear is a condition of persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. Bhayam, fearlessness, is only possible for one in Krishna consciousness. Ahimsa, nonviolence, means that one should not do anything which will put others into misery or confusion. Material activities that are promised by so many politicians, sociologists, philanthropologists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropologists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for human society. Ahimsa means that people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. The human body is meant for spiritual realization, so any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence on the human body. That which furthers the future spiritual happiness of the people in general is called nonviolence. Samatha, equanimity, refers to freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. This material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. Similarly, that which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. That is called samatha, equanimity. A person in Krishna consciousness has nothing to reject and nothing to accept unless it is useful in the prosecution of Krishna consciousness. Tusti, satisfaction, means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activity. One should be satisfied with whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That is called satisfaction. Tapas means austerity or penance. There are many rules and definitions in the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning and taking a bath. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions for fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice such fasting, but because of his determination to make advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such bodily troubles which are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose that is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance, and anything done in ignorance or passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one. However, everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one. However, and fasting done in terms of the Vedic injunction enriches one in spiritual knowledge. As far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. And what is that? What is a good cause? It is that which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness. That is not only a good cause, but it is the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is also good. Thus, clarity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to Vedic literature, it is enjoined that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. This practice is still followed, although not very nicely in terms of the Vedic injunction. But still the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. A Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life to understanding Brahman. Jana is one who knows Brahman. He is called a Brahmana. Thus charity is offered to the Brahmanas, because since they are always engaged in a higher spiritual service, they have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to the renouncer of life, the sannyasis. The sannyasis beg from door to door, not for money, but for missionary purposes. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken the householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness. It is the business of the sannyasis to go as beggars to the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due him in this human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. Hence, charity is to be given to the renouncer of life, to the Brahmanas, and similar good causes, not to any whimsical cause. Yasa, fame, should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is real fame. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who does not have such fame is infamous. All these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of demigods. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. Of whatever we find, good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest in this world which is not in Krishna. That is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna. Om Jnanatmiranyasya Gnanajana Shalakaya Chakshum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada, opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pachayane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Satarine. Hare Krishna. So today, Prabhupada I'm going to speak about intelligence today. I'm going to expand on that because, and what Prabhupada talks about, like according to Prabhupada, what is intelligence? And so I'm just going to share a little bit about what's happening for me right now, because this is a really big stretch for me to be here this morning. It's taken me, I'm embarrassed to say, probably years to actually come forward and ask to give a class. And it's because I've gotten in my own way of allowing myself to to be vulnerable and be here and share Prabhupada and whatever comes through for me. So I've had a lot of blocks to sharing, to being here in front of all of you. This is really actually probably one of the most terrifying. This is like really terrifying. I was noticing like that I'm like trembling a little bit, and I'm like getting hot, and I'm actually going to take my sweater off. I'm getting hot, and I was thinking like, oh yes, Arjuna was experiencing these on the chariot, but they were very different than I'm experiencing the material effects of, but Arjuna was, he was experiencing transcendental, he was having a transcendental experience of spiritual experience. So I'm humbled to know that I am not in any way transcendental, and maybe by the grace of Krishna and Prabhupada, during this class I can offer something if I allow myself to get out of the way and allow Krishna and Prabhupada to give me the answers. Give me the knowledge that I need. And so excuse me. So something that came up for me when I was putting together this class was I did the invocation. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. And I immediately thought, wow, well, intelligence really begins when our eyes are opened by the torchlight of knowledge from our spiritual master. And and here in the purport here, Prabhupada says intelligence refers to the power of analyzing things in proper perspective, and knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. And I think in this whole purport, actually, Prabhupada is like making discernments and for us, and so analyzing things in proper perspective, so making discernments, being able to make discernments, we could say is one aspect of intelligence, and then also understanding the difference between spirit and matter, and that spirit is eternal and matter is temporary. And let's see. Okay, so I was doing kirtan, and I had an experience that I wanted to share. That I was, while doing kirtan, I was kind of coming in and out of really connecting with surrender to
Good, puppy. Good.
To receive, surrender to really receive Prabhupada's message, to be a clear channel with all of you today. I was really kind of meditating on that, and then but then I would come out of that and go into how do I sound, and oh, that sounded good, oh, that didn't sound like I, and then I would go back into again I would go back into just remembering what I, what my purpose and what I'm in the moment, what I was wanting to connect with. And so I was going in and out like that. And so I was just thinking about how that's kind of what, how I experience, how I'm experiencing receiving knowledge from and intelligence knowledge from Prabhupada and Krishna. I'm going kind of in and out of, and more out than in, but I have most moments, because I'm more so in the material modes. I'm in the material modes. I'm not hearing Prabhupada or Krishna, or the intelligence that's wanting to come through, and our intelligence is very our individual intelligence is very unique. It's very unique, just like our body. Our body is very, no one else has our material body, or and even though like the intelligence is a more of a subtle element, the body is more of the body is a gross element. Still we have a very unique intelligence that was given to us, and it's perfect. It's perfect for our vehicle. It's perfect to help us to go back to Krishna, to receive the information that Krishna wants to give us, the knowledge that Krishna wants to give us, and it's perfect for receiving that, and then also for sharing that, for that knowledge in our own unique and special way. And and Krishna is only going to give us that with which we are ready for. So wherever we are in our spiritual journey, Krishna is going to give us the intelligence and the knowledge, the understanding at the exact moment that we're ready to receive it, and so he's meeting us. Krishna's very kind. He's meeting us where we're at. Wherever we are in our spiritual journey, he's giving us exactly what we need, and it's when we use our intelligence to direct our intelligence towards things such as being here this morning, or playing kirtan, or offering prasadam, or reading from the Bhagavad Gita. Those are the times when we are putting Krishna in the center. We're putting Krishna in the center, and those are the times when that intelligence and that knowledge is available to us. When we're putting Krishna in the center, and it's when we put ourselves in the center, and we make we try to control, and then that endeavor to control brings up anxiety and fear, and that anxiety and that fear really gets in the way. It really gets in the way of us really connecting with what is Krishna trying to tell us. What is the message? What is it that we're supposed to do? How we're supposed to serve? And so. Yeah, so it's our unique vehicle, that Krishna, our unique intelligence, and so that's going to look different. It's going to look different for all of us. How we receive that message from Krishna, and how we give that message through our intelligence. It's a very special relationship with Krishna, very special relationship, and in that way, it's very sacred. It's a very sacred. It's a gift. It's a gift. The special intelligence that he gives us, the intelligence that he gave I would say the character Rohini, but but really, like when I connect with that intelligence that Krishna is endeavoring to and ready and waiting to give me, when I connect to that place of putting Krishna in the center, serving Krishna with love and devotion, and when I do that, then I'm ready to receive that information. It's like I'm just a vessel where that information will come naturally to me. I'm just my soul. Come to my soul. Really, it's a soul, because well, I should say the character Rebecca. Just is always getting in the way of those messages, and because I get into my everyday routine, and then I forget Krishna, and I forget Krishna. I forget to serve Krishna, put Krishna in the center, and it becomes about me and what I need to do, or what I need to get done, or even about this house that we're trying to buy. It's like, I had these moments over the last month of having panic. I had some panic attacks, and that was new for me, because, well, new in the past probably decade, because there was a time in my life that I did have panic attacks, and I would have these maybe like 3 or 5 minute panic attacks where I was having trouble breathing, and and I knew it had to do with, well, at the moment I really didn't know what was happening, and I was kind of like, Krishna, please take this, because this is not serving me, and this isn't serving me right now for this to be happening. What I realized is that I was really trying to control what happens with this house and other things in my life, like really trying to control that, and not choosing to surrender to Krishna more deeply. And that's really hard when I'm not choosing to surrender to Krishna in every moment. Like, it's really hard to do that. When I go back into my mundane life, my material life, it's really hard to connect with that surrender, and with allowing Krishna just to show us what our service is and where that service is. And so, yeah, I'm just really really humbled by that. And something else that I was thinking about while I was preparing for this class was the difference between the intelligence of a man and the intelligence of a woman. Because for so long, and one reason why I was so scared to be here this morning in front of all of you was because I really put on a pedestal the intelligence of a man, actually. Like, really, I think just like a very, maybe not all men, but very like sharp philosophical intelligence. And I really just put that on a pedestal, and I mean, I still do, and I hope, my hope and prayer is that by doing this, by being here with all of you with this process, that I will come to a new place in my process. But yes, I was putting that intelligence on a pedestal, and because of that, I wasn't really looking at or seeing what my unique intelligence, what I have to offer was. And also I was blocking myself from sharing that, from sharing what my unique intelligence is, what comes through. And so with that, with the differences between our intelligence, yeah, I wasn't appreciating my own, which I'm still discovering what I'm actually in discovery of that, because I really have been really thinking that I needed to have this certain intelligence in order to be smart, and And in order to, and so I was so insecure. I'm insecure. I'm insecure about that, about myself. And then insecurity was really getting in the way. And what I realized is that, it's very much mundane and material intelligence that I think that I'm putting on a pedestal, and really the intelligence that's worth anything, the real intelligence that Prabhupada talks about is devotional service to Krishna, is putting Krishna in the center always. That's real intelligence. That's real intelligence. And then from there, we'll receive the real intelligence when we put our mind and we put our activities and we surround them with Krishna. Then that's real intelligence. And then from there, how exciting, because then what will come through, and it will be so unique because it will come through differently from me than from anyone else who shares it. And that again is the special relationship with Krishna that we have. And Krishna wants us to express it, and he wants us to, in our own way. He wants us to be individuals. He wants us to express it in our own way. We are, so yes, my prayer is that I will connect with that more deeply and continue to share in my own unique way, honor Krishna and what he wants to share. And also what an amazing opportunity to do that in the ark, because I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, I'm getting in the ark tomorrow morning. Like, I'm getting it because I really felt this was my stretch for the advanced course. Like that's what this feels like. I'm in the advanced course, and this was my stretch. And so so how special. I just feel so much. Yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to have this experience and share what's happening for me, and maybe even, move forward from some of what's been holding me back from really embracing and even embracing and even like loving my intelligence, like, wow, loving this intelligence that Krishna gave me. How special, how unique. And while it's special and unique, it's Krishna. It's like, it's Krishna. It's Krishna's intelligence. Krishna created intelligence. He created he's given us this. Whatever intelligence that I am given is by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Whatever they decide to give to me, to share with me, is by their grace. And so, yeah. So, let's see. Just looking at my notes quickly. I actually am not really going from my notes very much. I was hoping that I would do that. Okay. So something that came up for me while I was putting this class together was the story of the Brahmin. And Dear Govinda shared about this story before, but many times, Malini, there's been several people who have shared this story. So there's a Brahmin who I believe he's kind of maybe made fun of or picked on by the local community because he's illiterate. And he one day he's sitting and he's holding the book. He's actually sitting and holding the book every day because he's been given instructions by his spiritual master to read this book and read all 18. I believe it's read all 18 chapters of. And so he's holding up the book, but he can't read the book, and so Lord Chaitanya goes and he goes over to him and he asks him what he's doing, and he says I see that you're crying. What is this? And the Brahmin says that he sees Krishna driving the Arjuna's chariot, and that Krishna is so kind that he's accepted to serve his devotee Arjuna. And Lord Chaitanya says that yes, you understand the Bhagavad Gita, like you have full understanding of it. And so I really like this example. This example is really supportive for me because I don't need to be some advanced philosopher and advanced in philosophical knowledge to understand the Bhagavad Gita, to be given the grace from, because if my sincerity is there and I'm putting Krishna in the center, then Krishna will reveal himself to me. And it's not that I'm going to use my mind to read a book and that my this sharp intelligence is going to bring me to transcendence and back home to Godhead. It's that sincerity and that surrender and that bhakti, the love of Krishna, that's going to bring me closer to Krishna. And obviously we can see here that it's a beautiful example of that he just was so sincere that Krishna he understood the Bhagavad Gita just by looking at the picture, just by looking at that picture of Krishna driving the chariot, that he could understand all of it. So well, I'll read something from the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. So human beings, even in the lower statuses of life, a merchant, a woman, or a laborer, can attain the supreme. One does not need a highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principles of Bhakti Yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as the summum bonum of life, as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. If one adopts the principles enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a perfect solution to all the problems of life which arise out of the transient nature of material existence. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So something else that I was thinking about a lot that was on my mind when I was putting this class together was really men are more intelligent than women. Like I really had this because I was thinking, like, in the modes of material nature, I was really thinking of that. I was thinking men are not that intelligent in the modes of material nature. I was like thinking about just when it comes to the regulative principles and like being lusty and like how that can really cloud a man. And just, so I was just kind of like trying to have an understanding of that. And then and then Patrick reminded me of something, and actually I think Malini, you said this in a class recently, but that Prabhupada talks about how in this day and age there are no first, second, or third class men, only fourth class Sudras. So, and that women are considered Sudras. So in this age in society, men and women are all fourth class Sudras, because that was really hard for me to understand. And of course, I think Prabhupada also says there are some maybe third class Vaishyas. Is that, maybe Prabhupada says that. But yeah, I really feel like the modes of material nature are, I feel like I sense that like we're on a more even keel, and at the same time I see that that with like there's maybe more discernment, especially if there's a third class Vaishya, if there's someone, there's more discernment from a man, and because women can be so so soft-hearted and trusting, and so it's easier for a woman to be swayed, and so yeah, and then at the same time, then once we connect with the intelligence that as a spirit soul, as a soul, hi Nalini. Once we connect with our intelligence, we're connected with our service, bhakti yoga. When we're really connected with that, then there's no that difference between men and women. That difference goes away. There's no difference. That we're spirit souls. We're all I guess on the same plane, but and at the same time, yeah. So anyway, there's no mistake in the universe. The intelligence that we receive is perfect for our vehicle, perfect for going back, for our self-realization, for going back to Godhead. And I'm going to stop there. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or corrections or anything? I'm happy to receive you. Malini, Prabhu.
I was thinking at the beginning of your class, you said like, the spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And you say, that's my intelligence. And we can take that also further, that to accept a spiritual master is the highest intelligence. Mm-hmm. Because you can have someone who is very, very philosophical. In the evening, dear Govinda, I've been reading about philosophers. And Prabhupada's debating with his disciple. And those philosophers are so intelligent. They come to so much knowledge just on their own, own energy. But at the end, they don't accept the spiritual master. So their intelligence is like a zero. It's like completely zero. So like the intelligence is to accept the spiritual master. You were saying that the intelligence is given by the spiritual master, and it's true. Mm-hmm. But like, coming to a place of accepting a spiritual master, mm-hmm. that means that one has a lot of intelligence. Mm-hmm. And Kali Yoga, like people said, our intelligence, they are going to take shelter of the holy name. And in the story of the Brahman, that aspect is also very highlighted, because the people of the village, they were laughing at him because he was illiterate. And then look at him, he's holding the books upside down. And when Lord Chaitanya asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita because my spiritual master asked me to do so. Mm-hmm. Because my spiritual master. So it's by following the instruction of the spiritual master, then one is the most intelligent. Mm-hmm. And anyone who have any intelligence that doesn't lead them to accept a spiritual master, it's kind of zero. It doesn't have much value.
Mm.
And then Lord Chaitanya said, your reading of the Bhagavad Gita is perfect.
Mm.
So he's reading the Bhagavad Gita because his spiritual master asked him to do that. So he's just like, okay, I'm doing what my spiritual master asked me. Even if you open the book upside down, you cannot read any words.
Mm.
And then he has all the realization with full intelligence because of the acceptance of the spiritual master.
Mm.
Because that's the only intelligence that we need.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it's from the from accepting a guru, from accepting the spiritual master. That's when real intelligence comes. It's not just when the spiritual master opens our eyes.
But it's also there. It's like
both.
Like one and different. But
mm-hmm.
like in terms of intelligence, you are intelligent. Your intelligence. You saw Srila Prabhupada. You were able to have enough distinction and discrimination to accept Srila Prabhupada, to accept the teaching of Srila Prabhupada, and to accept him as your spiritual master. That's absolute intelligence.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm.
Hare Krishna, thank you for your class.
Krishna.
I appreciated what you shared about, I don't know, I hear a sound, but what you shared about how sacred it is, the gift we're given with our unique intelligence. Like I really just wanted to share appreciation that your enthusiasm to celebrate each of our unique intelligences, that it's just like a gift that we can just appreciate. And that Krishna wants that. He wants individuality, and that's what we're experiencing, is we're all individuals. So it's like just a real logical argument for accepting ourselves where we're at and what we've been given. Like even if we don't, there's more to grow, like there's more intelligence that could be developed. We can celebrate right where we're at, what we've been given already, and the fact that it's sacred. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I really appreciate your class this morning. A lot is coming up for me in relation to this topic and your sharing. I'm really appreciating your vulnerability and your candidness and explaining your own process in parallel with what principles you wanted to outline today. I think that's really like a beautiful intermingling that's been illuminating for me, especially. I think what's present with me right now is that I've often viewed perceived intelligence as a curse. I find myself struggling against the I know that attitude. And it is easy to become, if not guarded against, under an illusion of transcendence or complete, with understanding. And I will say that my particular interest in learning has helped me guard against that. It's, like my serious interest in really finding out the truth has helped me. But one of the things that ends up happening is that people often feel like I'm being sarcastic or, I don't know, somehow flippant when I ask questions, as if I don't really want to know answers, or if I'm only asking the question because I know the answer already, which is a little sometimes disheartening or like difficult for me to go through when I'm trying to seek information. And I appreciate that Prabhupada is so available for questions. He is, I've gone, my family jokes that I've gone through so many religions, that I've just like studied all sorts of different processes. And it's true, I really have tried to find out, from different authorities and different masters and different gurus and different places. And I feel like Prabhupada's the most available because he has the most complete answers and he has all the patience for us, really all the patience. Yeah, it's been a painful thing being perceived as intelligent. And I feel like sometimes because I can understand the words and I can hear the sentences and I can come up with 3, 4, 7 different explanations of what the text might mean, it becomes problematic and chaotic for me. It's almost like an existential crisis every time I read a spiritual text. And Prabhupada eliminates that for me. His purports are like, I mean, they are not like, they are nectar, because he eliminates any conclusion that I might mentally speculate. Each purport is clear about what the sastra is saying. And that to me is just, that's been the difference, because I don't have to question myself like, okay, what does this, Bible verse say? And how am I supposed to apply that to my life? And, I get mired in some sort of mental concoction. Prabhupada's really clear. And so I'm just taking shelter of that. And I have a lot of questions about like perceived intelligence of men and women and like diversity. And this is a very triggering topic for me. And when you bring it up, I always feel like maybe I have too much male energy or something, that I'm somehow failing as a woman to not be soft-hearted, or maybe I am soft-hearted and under illusion. I don't know. So that's always a difficult topic. So I appreciate you bringing it up, because it gives me more opportunity to explore where I am with that. Like, being the soft-hearted woman, like, what does that look like? So Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Bhakti and Danielle. Yeah, it sounds like like a lot was stirred up for you with this topic, and I hear that your intelligence, you feel like, is a curse, and it gets in the way, and Prabhupada can just cut right through that, and get right to the nectar, right to the nectar of the point, so that you don't need to, you can just put all of that noise aside and just and be with the answer. And so I hear that you appreciate that and take shelter of that. That's yeah. So and also you're looking at are you an illusion about you feeling more more in a male aligned with a male, like, I guess, intellect, or are you because maybe there is more soft heart, but you don't really fully connect with that. You don't connect with that. So there's, you're kind of in the question about some things. Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna, Rohini.
Hare Krishna, George.
I resonate very much with your sharing about surrendering and getting ourselves out of the way. Just yesterday, some of us were standing in Prabhupada's living room in Melrose, and we were sharing appreciations. And as soon as it came my turn, even just sharing appreciation, Lakshmi Priya looked at me, and Anasuya looked at me, and Danielle and Susan. And all of a sudden, even for sharing an appreciation, I felt like I was in the middle of the arc again and advanced. And I took a moment to gather my thoughts and just let Krishna like calm me and kind of use me as an instrument to what was really happening for me. And that point that you shared today about surrender came up. I shared something about surrender. And it's very present with me right now because especially I'm connecting with a point of ahimsa in the purport. Ahimsa, like nonviolence. It's almost like, it's hard for me to understand because I have trouble when someone says like, don't do, like no violence, I always I'm like, what is the affirmative of that? Or what Danielle calls, what is the positive inverse of nonviolence? And I love so much that Prabhupada just cuts right to it. He says here, that which furthers the future spiritual happiness of the people in general. that is nonviolent. That people should be trained in such a way that to fully utilize the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. And the human body is meant for spiritual realization. So it's like hearing Prabhupada say that nonviolence is using this body for spiritual realization is so affirmative to me. Because I'm thinking, if I just continue to show up in morning program, to chant my rounds, to use his body for that, then that surrender is coming. It's coming. Like, I'm doing nonviolence. And I experienced that with certain patterns of the machine, this character, this George. Sometimes when the machine goes into violence, into stating things or reacting in ways that are violent, they feel and sound empty to me now. Like I have that awareness. I'm like, that's not even alive in me. Like I hear the machine wanting to do this. And I think it's just passively coming from utilizing this body in spiritual happiness and spiritual advancement. So I really appreciate your sharing and resonate with your sharing about surrender and moving ourselves out of the way. And I'm very much specifically connecting with the affirmative of this ahimsa section of the purport. So thank you for bringing that into my life this morning.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Bhakta George.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I appreciate your class very much. And yeah, I was thinking about intelligence is that, Prabhupada use it a little bit different, like than we commonly experience it in like society that, there's intelligence of like description as an adjective of just, oh, somebody's intelligent. And that usually means, okay, they have a good memory or they good with numbers or math or can do reading comprehension or language. And as Devin's knocking on the door and the kids are doing, everything's happening right here. This is our life. That you're not here, you're over there, just a nice, peaceful bubble. And so the
You're learning?
I'm in class. Okay. Don't do a class thing. So an adjective is somebody's intelligent. That's how we commonly use it. But like Malini was saying, like those philosophers, they are intelligent. But what's the use of the intelligence if it's not if the one's not in front of the zeros? What's the use if it's not being used? And so what Prabhupada gives is like the intelligence is actually an element, a subtle element. It's an actual thing. It's a tangible thing. It's not just it's not just a quality. It's not just a description of someone. It's not just an adjective. It's a tangible thing that we can use in our lives to get towards our goal. With like using the intelligence to direct the mind and to make distinctions for spiritual life. Like Prabhupada gives it a very. So it's like, doesn't matter if you're intelligent or not, there's a way to use your intelligence. And there's many people that are intelligent that aren't using their intelligence properly. And many people who maybe don't have much, maybe aren't that intelligent, but they're using what they have, the intelligence to progress in spiritual life and the ultimate goal. And that's what Prabhupada's really encouraging us to do, is to engage our intelligence in this process. You're muted. Okay.
I see that. Yes, thank you. I really appreciate your sharing. I really appreciate you sharing that intelligence is actually I don't know. It's an element. It's like it's an energy. It's not just this quality, and that you can use it for for Krishna consciousness, or you could use it to study math all the time and do like, and it's just like, and so real intelligence is when you're using it in Krishna consciousness. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. And yeah, interestingly, what came up, when you said something about memory, and I was thinking about my own memory, and especially after I've had children, I find that my memory is just, I have a very poor memory. And so, and that's been hard for me, actually. I've been hard on myself about that. But it's interesting because, you know, I was just telling Malini, and I think I was telling you and dear Govinda, or maybe just dear, yeah, at the Bhagavad Gita class that you know, I received the initiation questions, and I read them, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be. I received some questions for initiation. I was like, I'm not going to be initiated. But then over the next 24 hours, all of these answers came into my mind. They came to me, and so I just was writing them down as I went along in that period of time. And so yeah, I wasn't going to answer those questions without help from Krishna. So
there to see if you get help from Krishna.
Will you say again?
The question are there to see if you're qualified. The like qualification is to get the help from Krishna.
I see. That, that's why you did that. But yeah.
I really like the story of Brahma, which is like our creation story. I'm learning a lot about stories lately. And I'm writing a paper that touches on the value, like the significance of creation stories. And they're important because the way that, like the story shows the way that we create, and then that sets the pace for how we continue to create. And Brahma's the creation story with Brahma is like, he was just appeared in the lotus, and he's like, where am I? What's going on? Where does this flower come from? And then he decides to like figure out its source. He's like, it must come from somewhere. And so he goes like trying to swim. I imagine him like swimming in the flower, like trying to go all the way to the bottom of the flower, and he's just forever and never getting to it. And then finally he like surrenders his like trying to figure it out on his own, and sits and meditates for a bajillion years, and Krishna in his heart, and then suddenly has the knowledge, the intelligence to like create all of the universes. And I just think that's like a pattern. Like that's exactly what we all experience. It's like, I'm gonna do it on my own, and then like getting lost, and it's not really working, and it's awkward, and then finally surrendering to the guidance in the heart.
Yeah. Thank you. I like that story. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Gajendra Prabhu, yes.
Yeah. Do you feel that when it comes to gender, like male, female, that there is any right or wrong about the way one should be on the basis of their body? So on one hand, you have an individual, and we want to respect, as you brought up, each person's uniqueness as an individual. And at the same time, if one is born in a male body or a female body, to what extent is there cause to say a man should be like this or have these traits, and a woman should be like this and have these other traits? Is there any kind of, in your opinion, right or wrong or ideal about that? Or do we just say, regardless of the sex of a particular body on the physical platform, that is irrelevant as to how one should be in other ways, intellectually, mentally, emotionally? Do you follow the question?
Let me see. So are you saying that, so what I'm understanding is possibly saying that being in a male body or female body, is that going to, I don't know, ensure that you have particular qualities as a male and a female? And can there be like discrepancies in that? Like, can a female can a soul in a woman's body have more male qualities, or vice versa?
Well, I think it's witnessed that is the case. What I'm asking is more in terms of making a judgment about it, of saying like it's, for example, it's for someone who's born with the, like say, the sex of a female, is it wrong to want to be strong or authoritative or do war, as opposed to be submissive and sweet and talk in a particular way? So it's like we want to respect the individuals and their uniqueness. We don't want to but is there, in your opinion, an ideal, like, well, yeah, we don't override the individual necessarily, but ideally one really should act according to a certain gender. There's like an ideal of what a certain gender is for a female, and that one should try to act this way. It is in some way like less than ideal to act a different way.
Okay.
So I'm asking about making judgments about the way somebody is in relation to to their behavior, mentally, emotionally, attitudinally, choices that may not be aligned with so-called ideals, what a gender should be.
When you say ideal, do you mean according to Prabhupada, according to Bhagavad Gita? Like, is that, will you? I guess I'm not clear.
So there are these ideas like, oh, that's a feminine trait. That's feminine. And there's this other idea, this is masculine. Like, people don't normally say, oh, it's feminine to be, really aggressive and go out and play football, or, try to control things, or, that's not normally considered feminine. One might think like, oh, wearing pretty pastel, flowery clothing and speaking in a sweet voice and being demure, like that's feminine. Like, there's these ideas about what's feminine and what's masculine.
Yeah, I think that this is a big topic, and there's a lot of places to go with this, at least for me anyway, and that might not be aligned with Prabhupada. So I guess I might just say that geez, I don't know if I'm qualified to really share. But Brielle would like to share.
I have a theory about this. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's what Prabhupada says, although there are some things that Prabhupada says, like I think shyness is a really beautiful quality in a woman. So shyness is like a more feminine quality. But my theory is that, we're in Kali Yuga right now, and there was Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and it's like this decline. And my theory is that, I don't know if this is true, that in the earlier yugas, that men were like rooted to their their masculine core, and women were connected to their feminine core. And that over the course of time, especially in Kali Yuga, we've gotten really disconnected from these cores, but it's not wrong. It's just the way things are. It's like, there's not really a right or wrong, especially in Kali Yuga, like, and the Vedas tell us that, like, there's so many stories of things that could be perceived as wrong, but it was like someone's path back to God. But I do think that, like, at least I can speak for my own personal process, that I'm realizing that modernity kind of, my upbringing and relationship with modernity, I became a very masculine woman. And I'm really good at these masculine qualities, like starting a business and making decisions and all these things. But my process lately is so much around realizing how what I really want is my feminine qualities. Like shyness is like feeling like home again. And I don't need to pretend anymore. I don't need to be this like confident person pretending that I have it all figured out. And it feels like such a relief that like confidence doesn't need to be my master anymore. And in my whole life, confidence was my master. And now I'm like, I can just be the shy woman that I always was. And it feels so good for me personally. I'm not saying that's true for all women, but I do believe that women who at their core, they feel like they're feminine, even if they have a masculine shell, I think that we will feel most at home when we come back to these feminine qualities. But it's not about making us women who have masculine shells wrong. Like, it's not wrong. And same vice versa, like men who have a masculine core but a feminine shell, it's not wrong. But maybe a man with a masculine core will feel most at home in his sheltering, protective, masculine qualities. So all I know about what Prabhupada said is Prabhupada said shyness is a beautiful quality in a woman. There's other things, but they're like not in my mind right now. So I don't know if what I'm saying is aligned with the Vedas, but that's my response to your question.
Well, I appreciate hearing what Brielle says, and for the record, I think I subscribe to your theory. Kali Yuga is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, and I like to just sort of generally add confusion to it. And my thought is, because I've been looking a lot over the past year at the sort of gender identity issues going on, from everything from pronouns, binary outlooks, and as well as all the different sexual identities. And what it boils down to me is it's like a beginning level of people realizing they're not their bodies. I mean, it's coming out in an awkward way socio-politically, but at some level, people are going, I'm not this body. I think that's what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the response to my question from both of you. And it's just something that I'm wondering, that I do wonder about, like, is there some, absolute ideal to where we accept how you are, but really you should be this way just because you're in the body.
Mm.
I think maybe what Brielle said is right. Hey, it's Kali Yuga. It's just like, don't try to make it wrong. It's just not. It's gonna be what it is.
And really, Gajendra, like it's a bunch of just lost souls. People don't even know who they are. Like, they're just covered over. Like, so, I mean, it's just where people are just walking around. They don't even know who they really are in this, like in the core. Like, so.
I just thought to share really quickly, because it occurs to me that there are a lot of really strong, fierce women role models in Sastra, like Dhritarashtra's wife, who was driving his chariot and defending his body on the battlefield and keeping him safe from death. So, and women even conventionally protecting their children are quite fierce. So I don't know, I really don't know about this gender normative question. And I really appreciate, Gajendra, so much you're wanting to know and thinking, and everyone's speculation and opinions about what it is. And maybe it's something we all could explore a little more in our personal readings. I mean, I certainly will, because it is a trigger for me. It is something I'm very confused about, raising a daughter.
Mhm.
You know, do I want her to be shy? Like, maybe, I don't know, in some cases. So, hi, Krishna. I appreciate the conversation.
Hare Krishna. Well, I encourage it. So it's time to wrap up. So if I see there's some more sharing that, so I encourage you maybe on Bhakti Yoga discussion or start an email thread. It sounds like a nice thing to continue to discuss. So Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.